Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Have You Ever Played podcast, the only podcast that is officially sponsored by Disney. I'm Matt, aka Matt Fondude, and legally I have to say that is a joke. Who are
Damn.
you?
I'm James, aka Afro40.
And
And
James, we haven't talked in a while. We have a
yes.
lot to cover. We had the holiday. We had a big holiday break, and we did cover the
Yep.
Game Awards a little bit, but we have
Yes.
many things to discuss.
Indeed we do.
Do you want to talk about probably the biggest thing that we've both been highly addicted to?
Yeah, Marvel Rivals. It was really funny cuz it got announced and everybody was like R&R, another hero shooter in the year 2024. Oh no.
Hmm.
We don't like
Including
that
me.
anymore. Overwatch bad. Boo. And
Yeah,
then
I
it
had
came
no
out
faith in it.
and then it came out and then it had like 400,000 concurrent players on Steam. And then season 1 came out and had like 600,000 concurrent players on Steam.
Yeah, it's actually kind of insane how popular the game is. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes sense because Marvel is popular and has broad appeal, but the game is also really good. So when you have something that has such broad appeal and it's actually a fun game, and it seems as though the monetization right now isn't that horrible and predatory, it's
Hmm.
it's crazy. Imagine making a good game.
Yeah, imagine.
Um, Pour one out for Overwatch. Dead game. Overwatch 2. Officially, finally dead because
Yeah,
I liked Overwatch. I'm not going to play it again.
yeah, I don't know, it's really funny. People are posting all these like screenshots of the Twitch viewership and stuff. Um, but like what they're failing to mention is that it's like Overwatch's like lowest point and Marvel Rivals like relatively higher point. Like on an average day, they'll be pretty similar in viewership. It's just like some of the screenshots are taken very out of context.
Hmm. Well, all of the content creators that I was watching that covered Overwatch are all covering Marvel right now, which it makes sense because it's the hot
Yeah.
new thing.
It's
But
also there's
pretty
lots
much
of
all of them are
overlap.
jumping ship.
And yeah, there's
Oh
also
yeah,
lots
there.
of overlap.
Mhm.
Like even for the ones that aren't necessarily like colossal Marvel greater than Overwatch guys, it's like, well, my Overwatch fan base, or even like for the ones that do like coaching and stuff, my Overwatch clients are all playing Rivals. So like,
Mhm.
it's just a good career move to play the game, even if I still play both.
Well, it is also one of those things where Marvel Rivals has like infinite money right now, just because of the backing of the IP. It seems
Yeah,
like they have infinity money to do just keep adding characters, keep adding stuff, and I mean obviously this is all with a grain of salt because the game is new and it
yeah,
could go horribly wrong, but it feels really good right now to play.
yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting game because I think it definitely lacks a lot of the polish that Overwatch has, like especially engine wise. But like they just have it's just more content.
Mhm. Well, it is. There are some buggy things, especially with like Doctor Strange's portal, and we can get into character specifics
Yeah.
in a bit. But there does seem to be some of those elements, like rough edges, like you're talking about. But also, the game launched with a bajillion characters, and there's like so much content for a game that just
Yeah.
came out of nowhere, seemingly.
Yeah, well, to be fair, they were beta testing and stuff for a pretty reasonable amount of time. Like it already had a pre-existing community.
Hmm. Well,
Um
now people are playing it. Like actually, like everyone is playing it because of word of mouth.
yeah.
Turns out it's actually good. That was something when I had heard about it, but I really thought it was just going to be terrible. I had no faith in it whatsoever. In fact, I actually when I turned the game on because I was actually thinking like, oh, I want to have an Overwatch type game to play right now, and I saw Marvel Rivals, and I played one match, and I had a voice chat enabled, and I was
Mhm.
in a lobby with I think actual like 8-year-old children,
Ah, the
and
classic.
I thought that the whole game was like that because it was literally fresh out of the womb children talking into a microphone, like talking about
Yeah,
their favorite Marvel characters. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this is not the game for me.
yeah,
But I remedied pretty much the best thing you can do in any game like this is just turn off all of chat features, including text chat, and it's great.
man.
So James, you have been playing probably longer than I have, and you definitely have a more you have more of a background in these kind of games. What do you think about it so far? Like, what are your general thoughts?
Well, it's interesting because it changed a little bit after the patch, but my general thoughts are: I think it's very fun. I think it's a game I'll probably play for a while. Um, I think that we are still in a honeymoon phase, and we're probably going to be there until like May or something. Like it's going to be a while. Video game honeymoon phases last a pretty long time generally, especially when it's live service and it's like every season you're getting new content to make you not forget about the things that you dislike, but kind of almost put off the things that you dislike because people just don't have time to focus on it. Um, but yeah, I think it'll continue to be fun for a while. I think there definitely are things that Overwatch does better. I don't think people can necessarily act like it's just a straight up superior game. Like Overwatch is a lot more polished. They had a lot of problems at launch with performance. There's also the whole issue with some characters doing more damage when they have higher FPS or like
Oh yeah,
moving
that
faster with certain
that is
FPS, and then there's
definitely something to
yeah,
consider. The horrible optimization of performance. This game
yeah,
heavily relies on DLSS or other AI upscaling slash frame
yeah,
generation, which is unfortunate. It's really rough, and I do think they are pushing the envelope with some of the tech, though, especially around Doctor Strange's portals and how
hmm
it's almost like the game portal, where you have these the
yeah.
character Doctor Strange in the game can throw up a portal, kind of like Symmetra in Overwatch, but it is you can look into the portal and you're seeing the other
And
side
yeah, and projectiles can go
dynamically,
through the portal and everything. Like it's literally like you are effectively there before you cross through the portal. It's
which
like
is
technically it's
crazy.
very impressive.
Yeah,
I heard
it's
that in the beta it
extremely.
was unbelievably buggy.
I can't even
Like
imagine
would
how they
literally
accomplished
crash
it.
games. Yeah, I don't know. It's very cool that they've made that work in a multiplayer game with like so many other factors. Like I know Splitgate did stuff like that, but that's like the primary mechanic. Whereas like
Mhm.
they just kind of did this like casually.
They
I'm sure
must
there
be
was a lot
faking
of
it.
dev time that went into it.
Yeah, they must be faking it in some way because you have the Doom match right now, which is just deathmatch. And in
Yeah,
Doom match, there's tons of portals everywhere, and it doesn't.
yeah,
I think it actually does affect the frame rate a little bit, but
yeah. I don't know.
I'll get weird lag spikes, which is very strange. Um,
Yeah, I have no
I'll have
clue.
moments
Damn,
where the
very
game
strange.
will.
Like the Doctor.
Yes, very strange like the Doctor. Usually when he's around, something will make the game drop like 20 frames and it's noticeable, but it's very rare, and I think it's weird interactions with characters.
hmm
That's a huge gate, like that is a huge roadblock, but that's something that is fixable with time, the performance. That seems to be the only big complaint people have in like the Steam reviews, at least of the game.
Yeah. I mean, I think gameplay wise, there are some interesting things that I'm not sure how they're gonna age. I think they're like character for character design outside of DPS isn't fantastic in some places. I think some of the supports are very heal body. I
Hmm.
think the tanks are, I hate to be that guy. I think the tanks suffer the most from the design issues. They're lots of them are just massive bullet sponges, and there's not really much to their gameplay. They're a lot more like spammy than the Overwatch tanks. You're always doing something, but it's not always fun. Doesn't necessarily always feel good. It's just you're pressing buttons a lot. I think that when people people that really like tank, lots of that like more cerebral gameplay that they're used to might not be there.
Hmm.
Because of the lack of downtime, because you always doing stuff, there's not as much setup time. You're just kind of always in, and from there, it's kind of just honestly a stat check for like lots of cases.
Well, it's
And I
funny you
think
say
that
that.
yeah, and I also think that in the
Um,
cases of like some that people consider more interesting, like Doctor Strange, it's not. Strange is really just he just does damage. All of his abilities are basically just damage. He's a tank that
mhm.
does damage.
Yeah, and has a crazy like Overwatch 1 style Reinhardt 800 health, whatever crazy shield.
I honestly
Which
don't think the shield is that crazy. Like Reinhardt Overwatch 1 shield was 2k. Even
Doctor
Overwatch 2
Strange
Ryan
is.
shield never got as low as 800.
I think his shield is just annoying. There is counterplay. At least you can just like walk behind him and stuff. So there
Yeah.
is. I do think a big problem with this game is there are some things that feel like they do not have any meaningful counterplay. And Doctor Strange's shield isn't really one of those. It's more of his. It's more characters like you're saying the supports that are
Yeah.
basically all heal bot support, and then you have Luna Snow who has an alt that's just 12 seconds of invulnerability, pretty much,
Yeah.
and pretty much all the support alts boil down to big AOE of immunity. It's just like give everyone Zenyatta alt. It's just not really fun to play against. And I guess you could counter them with alts that can one shot her, but I don't particularly like when a character presses Q and then you're just like, I guess I run away. I don't really know
Yeah.
what to do in this
Yeah, I think also
scenario.
part of the problem with that is that she gets a movement speed boost while she's in the ult too, and she's like
Hmm.
floating, so she's not that easy to hit. Or at the very least, she has it's kind of in her control whether she gets hit, if that makes sense. Like she can dodge stuff reactively for the most part.
I feel like the healing in this game in general is extremely high
Yeah, the
to
healing's
the
through the
point.
roof. We'll get to that in
Yeah,
a second.
yeah.
Oh boy, yeah, the healing is something.
I don't particularly. I get the point that healer is impactful because honestly, some of their best gameplay is just heal botting, and they can be very impactful in that way.
Yeah,
But and
I don't
both
know.
teams can do it.
I've got some hot takes about healers. I think that healer is a fundamentally flawed role, like design wise.
I
If you
mean,
think
I
about
think
at least
so in every game,
in a
really.
shooter at least, because if you think
Hmm.
about like the fundamentals of FPS, right? You think like feedback, time to kill, stuff like that. Healers just mess with all of that severely.
Hmm. Well, this
I think I'm
game,
fine with like out of combat healing, but I think in combat healing is extreme, way too high. I kind of think Overwatch was going in the right direction with the DPS passive, but I think that they didn't make it very readable, and it's kind of awkward the way that it functions. If you're not a
yeah.
DPS player, then you're kind of waiting for your DPS to shoot the guy, so you can actually
Well,
like start
anti
doing relevant
heals
damage.
is kind of poison for casual players
I think
because
full anti heal is bad. Like heal reduction, I think is fine.
well, it's not even the specific of that the anti-healing, it's the fact that people don't know what is going on. It's how do you explain to people that someone is being reduced in healing or anti-healed right now? Like it's hard to
I mean,
show a player
there's
what
plenty
is
of UI
going on.
stuff for that. To be fair, I mean, it's the same as like if you're what is it? Same as like a bunch of other CC, where you can just put different notifications on the screen. I
I
think
have been
Overwatch's
seeing
anti-heal feedback is fine for like Ana grenade,
mhm.
but
Well, it's
I also
funny.
think like I don't think every game should necessarily try to do like full like just zero healing done anti-heal.
Well, Overwatch's entire game was balanced around Anna's grenade for a while, and that was not healthy for the game.
Well,
Basically,
I think one thing that was kind of, I guess not good, but I guess different is Overwatch released Ana pretty early, so they've had like a lot of time to manage that. And I think even to this day, they're still dealing with the way that she morphs the game.
oh yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
it's a
I
huge
think that there
problem.
definitely needs to be some adjustments to healing. I think we haven't really talked too much about DPS. I think DPS design in this game is generally quite good.
Mhm.
I would even say lots of them are better than Overwatch. I think some of them, I don't know. It's weird because I think Black Panther, for example, I think his design is really cool and really good, but it's also a little too simplistic at times because he only has like one game plan, right? He's trying to mark you
Mhm.
and he's trying to dash through you a million times. So it's like when people get good enough to counter that, you just kind of don't get to play, or at least when they have the proper comps and stuff to counter that, you don't get to play. And when they're not, it's just kind of like, well, you just always get to play. Like it's kind of 0 or 100 a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I
I
know
really
on the lower end, on like the lower percentile, there's lots of problems with it because it's kind of an aim check.
mhm. Oh,
I
same
mean,
thing with that one character who's like the martial art character that is like
oh,
very
Iron
generic.
Fist. Oh yeah,
Iron
Iron
Fist,
Fist
yeah.
is a name check. It's a CC button check.
That's a console player check. That's basically a
That's a
are
can you hit
you
your Luna freeze on a guy running in a straight line at you check.
can you get out of silver check? It is very funny that they
Pretty
do
much.
run at a straight line at you and you just kill them.
I
It's
do
really
think
not a
it's
big deal.
very nice that they did not touch Iron Fist at all in the patch notes, and all the casuals like or all the like giga casual like dads complained about it. And it was
He's
like,
fine.
yeah, he's fine, dog. You just gotta like
Shoot.
respectfully skill issue.
It really is. Um it I think it's really cool though that the melee DPS in this game feel really good. I really like how they feel like you're kind of playing a different game. Like I played a lot of Magic for fun, not really for I don't think I have a future of playing a melee character because it feels limiting, but
Yeah,
Magic can be fun. And I'm enjoying Venom as a tank too, but he's not even a tank. He's just you're annoying the other team the whole game. It's pretty fun. Um,
yeah. He's just I don't know. He's just
it
kind
just
of
you don't die,
I don't know.
you just annoy
He's
the
a
other
weird
team.
character.
I love
Very
it.
weird
It's really
character.
fun. You
Yeah.
just you as Venom, you have a button that gives you more health when you're low on health, and you have a swing to get in and out, and then you have an alt that gives you health. You
Yeah,
pretty
I
much
guess
do
like on the
not die.
topic of like tanks that are just kind of always doing anything, Venom is like the pinnacle where it's like you're always in because you have a bunch of health. You're always left clicking people. You're like spamming your abilities on cooldown, but it's like I don't know. I feel like the problem with the tanks always doing stuff is there aren't like these big impactful moments for them. Like you don't get those like or at least not as frequently do you get those like Earth Shatter like abilities, except for like Doctor Strange and kind of Groot. But even then,
Mhm.
when you compare it to Overwatch, Groot's ult is kind of like Grav, like Zarya Grav. But I think it's not nearly as satisfying. It's both because of the feedback of the ability itself and also the kit around it. Because in Overwatch, when
I
you're
w-
playing Zarya, it's like you're building up your energy at the same time as you're building up your ult charge, and it's like this dual build up that makes the Grav especially satisfying because you also have so much kill potential during it. But Groot, you're just kind of
I
playing Fortnite.
I wonder if the developers specifically designed alts and abilities around solo play more so than team play because you're right, there
Uh,
aren't that
I'm
many
not
opportunities to do
100% sure.
crazy combos,
Oh,
or at least I haven't
there are
seen.
plenty of combos. I'm talking about like as a tank, right? Like there's no like I press this button. There's not as much I press this button and you lose as like Overwatch,
Mhm.
which I think you would think it's bad, but when you think about how the games actually flow, both at like a lower level and a high level, people like the clips, and also people need ways of breaking stalemates. So I think it's good to have
Mhm.
that kind of stuff.
I don't particularly think there's that many tanks though is the problem too.
Yeah,
Like
that too.
there's not
Oh
they're
god.
all the same kind of playstyle generally.
Oh man, there's so many topics for this game. Actually, now that I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it.
This is going to be a
Um,
multi-week coverage
yeah, but I guess we
of
can finish talking about
Marvel Rivals.
DPS. I think generally DPS is solid. I think it's probably their best designed role. I think it's the only role where I'm pretty confident they have Overwatch beat. Like it's
Mhm.
been 8 years and Overwatch hasn't really been able to figure out how to make a melee DPS work. From what I understand, they've wanted to do it for a while. I think part of the problem is the difference between FPS and third person shooter. The reason why Ryan works is because he's a tank and he can just play by different rules. Um, and
Mm.
he's a lot more ability centric, and he's not just trying to kill people.
Mhm. I really thought I would be bothered by the third person perspective, but I actually really like it and I didn't think about oh, if I buy a skin or if I get something, I can see my character,
Yeah, that is very
which
nice.
I
Being able to
really
see my
like.
character. I haven't played like a live service third person game in. I don't even know if I've ever played a live service third person game like this. Like when I buy a skin, sometimes I'm running around and like, oh, it's not just my gloves.
Yeah, it's not a fancy
I'm
bow,
not
or
just
it's
dripped out for
something.
somebody else. I'm dripped
I
out for
I
me.
really never thought I cared about that until I was playing this game, and I'm like, wow, I want to actually get skins now for characters that I like because
There's also
it's
there's also the
so
fact that the skins
visible.
are lots of them are like references to comics and stuff, which is
Hmm.
nice. It's like it's not just
Um,
random stuff.
I think we should also mention at this point a big draw of the game is the art style, and for better and for cringe, the art style is really great. The game looks fantastic. The models are really good. Everyone looks
Uh,
really good. It is a bit it is a bit very sexualized. Um, it makes the
yeah, I mean
money. They sell the
it is what
$20
it is. It's
skin.
a modern game.
They sell the butt for the $20 skin, which you got to respect the hustle. But
Yeah,
it is little Timmy's playing this game, and it is rated like 12 plus, and I'm like, okay, they're really
apparently
pushing that.
a Twitch streamer got banned because one of his chatters told him to zoom in on the butt of the Invisible Woman skin, and
Hmm.
he just got banned on the spot.
uh, the newest skin is the Invisible Woman skin, which is like insane. Such an in like the regular design of the two characters, Invisible Woman and we got
Okay,
Mr.
so actually,
Fantastic.
first of all, in their defense, it is not an original skin. It actually is from the comics.
Oh no,
But
no, I'm saying, but they
but
put it in
still,
the game.
yeah, but
They
still, it is
chose what
pretty
they knew. They
insane.
knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
Um, they're gonna make a fortune off of that skin.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
gonna be a bajillion dollars made.
Yep,
Um,
a more $1 billion.
and it's like, you know what? You gotta respect the hustle, and there's nothing wrong with that. It is just worth noting. It is a important thing to note that this game is thirsty. It is, well, probably the most thirsty game I've seen in a while. It is insane. Um, pretty much every character is designed to be like just insane.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I do think that the something going off of monetization and costumes, I do think the battle pass system is almost perfect. It is what I've
Yeah, I
been
think it's
asking
really good.
for. Uh, you can buy the battle pass and you have it forever. You can go back and do it whenever you want.
Hmm.
Now they still give you FOMO though, because if you don't buy the battle pass, you'll never be able to get it, I guess. But maybe they'll change that.
Yeah, I think the problem that some people had is the battle pass currency doesn't carry over through seasons, which I thought was
That is very
fine.
annoying.
But I think that the issue is that I'm seeing with the first season now is that this battle pass is very long. And thinking
Hmm.
about how long it took me to complete the last battle pass in 30 days, this is more. I would say it's not more than 3 times the effort because it's 3 times this season's 3 times the length, but it is a lot more effort than I would have expected to complete.
Hmm.
And I know for a fact lots of people are going to run out of time. And then when they're doing this battle pass next season, then they'll finish that, and then they'll have to do the next season battle pass late, and then it'll just keep going on until like you're 2 seasons behind or
Yeah,
something.
you'll never have time.
Yeah.
Now, oh sorry, I thought I heard a fire alarm or something go off. Uh, do you have uh do you in this game? Do you know if is it only daily missions and other missions that give you battle pass currency, or do you? I don't think you get
It's
any
just
per
the
regular
missions, I
match,
believe.
which is why it's so slow. And I was playing a ton over the weekend and just got like no currency.
Yeah, I think games that don't have a progression system outside of the battle pass tend to have that issue. I've noticed that. Um, I'm not like too crazy about it. I do like base progression systems. They're fun, but
Uh,
yeah, I mean it's just how it is.
I'm just gonna pause real quick because there's like some sort of ruckus going on. I'll be right back.
A ruckus, okay.
Okay, we are back. Yeah, I don't know. Someone is like vacuuming or like doing something strange. They're doing some like crazy tech right now. But
Doing something
anyway, we were talking
strange like a
about
doctor.
we were talking about the battle pass and how I thought so. The first battle pass was $5, and I thought all of them would be $5, and I was like, wow, that's good.
Yeah,
But they
I
were
mean
ten
to be
dollars.
fair, they did announce in like a pre-season dev blog that it would be that this season that season 0 is like a half season or not even half
Hmm.
season, like a third season. So like the battle pass would be cheaper and all that, and have less content than normal.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough, and I do think that so besides like the progression to actually get the stuff on the battle pass, which probably could use some work, I do think that $10 is that's standard price if you want to get all these skins and whatever. And the fact that I could go back and do it if I want to, it doesn't. I don't feel like I'm like trapped playing the game. I do think the fact that you can't buy old battle passes, maybe they'll add that. That would be the perfect system. That I wouldn't feel trapped in having to buy it, But um, I get they need some sort of FOMO design, and I do also think that none of the battle pass skins so far have surpassed the premium skins. And the pricing on the premium skins, it's like Overwatch pricing. They're like $20 for one
Yeah.
skin, which is pretty stupid. There is a lot of work put into them, and it seems like they have a lot of custom stuff going on. But I'm not like, unless it really, I was gonna say I'm not paying $20 for a skin, but unless there's a skin, I guess I'm part of the problem if I'm gonna buy something. But if there was something that I wanted that was like for a character that I enjoyed, then I would get it. I guess. I just think $20 is tough. Like even $10 is a lot, but that seems at least more reasonable for a crazy skin. $20, like what are we doing? You know, that's
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, no, not having to buy champion characters, not having to buy heroes, which is probably the most poison thing you can do to a video game.
Yeah,
Horrible idea.
apparently it was leaked that they had systems in place for that, but then they got like bad feedback on it, so they wanted to do it.
Yeah, I also assume they saw Overwatch 2 backpedaling on it and realized that they were kind of clown emoji laughing stock, and were like, man, maybe it really does feel like this game is, let's look at Overwatch 2 and do the opposite of all their horrible failures. And you can
Yeah,
look at
I
that
mean,
in the competitive modes, which we can talk about.
yeah, I mean that's just the luxury of being second, honestly, or not even
Exactly.
second, but having being after. And I think in Overwatch's defense, there are a lot of lessons they didn't learn, like a
Yeah,
lot. Like I think my favorite one, and this is still technically on the DPS tangent, the old tank buster lesson. So I think Bastion and Mauga are some of the most disgusting game design in all of Overwatch. I
well,
don't think,
especially Mauga, because they
yeah,
had
I don't
time.
think most people would disagree on that. And I think it's fundamentally because to like play tank buster with those characters, you need to put in significantly less effort than the person that you're hard countering. Like it's almost just by picking this character, you are hard countering a better player than you, like significantly better player with almost. I don't want to say no effort, but I would say like 10% of their effort. And Marvel Rivals decided to make a little character called Wolverine,
Which
and
is a
his whole
genius
thing,
character.
yeah. I initially thought it was really cool, but I was also like, why is this guy not a tank? Because this whole thing is that he like goes at you, he grabs you, and he like drags you around, like he pounces on you and drags you with him. And then his ult is like a big thing where he lifts a bunch of people up with his claws, and he slams into the ground and stuns them. I'm like, wow, that sounds like a tank. What most people didn't do though is they didn't go to the website and read his stats. By the way, the Marvel Rivals website, they have all the heroes and they have the stats on all of their abilities. There's lots of stuff that isn't in game, so if you're playing the game, it's worth checking out. And one thing that was included is that so Wolverine's passive is like a rage meter, right? He gets more rage, he gets more damage. But what was not included in game is that this damage is based on the max HP of the person you're hitting. And he can buff himself to hit really, really fast. And you can imagine, oh, he drags people around, right? He does percent-based damage. I wonder who that's for. So, you have a Wolverine who's sitting around a corner, literally can't see him because he's just ratting around the corner. And you're a tank, you're walking up like you're supposed to, and then you just get kidnapped and you're dead. There is quite literally, and I do not use this very often because I think it is a really stupid term. There is quite literally zero counterplay. Because the ultimate answer is to not round the corner, and that is to not play the game as a tank player. Like, quite literally, you are not playing the game.
counterpoint, because you're coming from a tank player perspective. I think the character, obviously that's an issue, and he's even better right now after the patch. But I think the character doing percentage damage based on the percentage of max health is a pretty genius solution to having characters that are tank busters that just will still also shred DPS characters, like in Overwatch with Reaper, like just shredding low tier people in lower tiers, and also
Uh,
shredding tanks.
I mean, I guess, but I don't. I think my thing is that so you've got two problems, right? You've got the tank buster issue, and you've got also blowing up other classes. But I think that there are characters that blow up other classes too. Like I don't think it's necessarily the. I don't think the problem is that there are characters that do both. I think the problem is characters that are tank busters themselves.
Well, I think you need the tank buster if you don't have roll queue, because I have been in games where there's people trying to run like multiple tanks, like 3 or 4
Yeah.
tanks, and you can't do
Um.
anything unless you go tank buster.
Well, yeah, I think there's a few things there. I think part of it is the support sustain being so overtuned because obviously tanks have the health bars to actually take advantage of that most. And I
Hmm.
also think that the game has very, I guess, inoffensive tank design in comparison to Overwatch. Like they're never going to make like Hazard or something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say they would necessarily make something like Winston or Diva. So the characters that did require tank bust or that did supposedly require tank busters just aren't there. Like the tanks just aren't strong enough for that, and I think they very consciously designed them to not be strong enough for that. And it feels like they were like, oh, just in case, let's do this. But I think the reality is that you're making people that are playing the role and well, it's the least played role. Let's just make that clear. You're making people that
Hmm.
are playing the role and not having fun have even less fun with minimal effort. So you're serving to make even less. You're creating a situation where even less people play the role.
Hmm.
So it's like you're enhancing a problem that you already have, and you're not really giving them much back. Like especially without role queue, there is very little reason to want to play tank right now, unless you're just
Hmm.
naturally a tank player, which again there aren't many of, at least in relative to other rules. Um, and then there's also, I guess now that we're done with the DPS discussion for the most part, there's also the problem of the way that they've kind of been updating the game, where I think it's very, very much been favored towards like more sustain and more of the support stuff. And what that has led to is lots of people playing triple support. And so when you
Hmm.
play triple support, because the tanks aren't very strong, you play double DPS and single tank, and the single tank is just kind of there to get his ass beat and have his sad time.
Yeah, be Venom and just don't die and just kind of don't really do anything, but
Not even necessarily Venom. You play
sometimes you
like
get the
Doctor
assist.
Strange and like just get hit with CC, and you just kind of like sit
Oh
there
yeah.
and put your shield up sometimes, and like you ult, and then you get hit with a bunch of support CCs, and an Invisible Woman pushes you back, so your ult doesn't hit anybody. And then when you hit one guy, the Invisible Woman puts her shield on the one guy, so you can't kill them during the ult.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
I don't know. So here's the problem. I liked roll queue in Overwatch because I just wanted to play. If I wanted to play support, if I wanted to play tank, if I wanted to play DPS, I just wanted to queue for that. And you don't run into lobbies where your team is composition is trash.
yeah,
But I do get why people don't like it. And like you said, tank queue will always be 1,000 hours long, or actually DPS queue will be 1,000 hours long because everyone wants to play DPS, and then it's
yeah,
just all these like that's an issue. But I kind of wish you could queue based on your preference, or I don't know, maybe they try to
yeah.
queue people
I
together
think
based on what they play.
Yeah, I think they should have some sort of like preference setting or something. And I also think that they should do minimum one of a role and max of three.
Hmm.
Um,
I think people
but
still would just queue for tank to get fast queue times and then play DPS, but
well, I think they would just lock. What is it? I think that they could just lock it if you're like the only tank or something like that.
it'd be
And
kind of
also in
nice
theory,
if you
somebody
could.
would have to play tank.
Yeah, it would be kind of nice if you could queue for DPS and tank and then get whatever, but you probably would not get DPS often. And
Yeah,
also, people I think are worried that if you limit it to 2-2-2, that limits the comps. And although
yeah.
I
Well,
think a lot of people are very optimistic about that because
okay,
the
yeah,
only
I
comps
was
you
gonna
get are
say this one
bad.
thing. One thing. What comps are y'all trying to run? You're not gonna have less than 2 supports. Let's be honest with ourselves for a second.
Oh yeah, supports for
That's
sure.
locked in.
'Cause
You're not playing less than 2 supports. What are
yeah,
you
but
gonna
then
do?
I can play Spider-Man.
What are you
So
gonna
when
do?
I play
4
my Spider-Man
DPS
and
like
get
you complain
0
about every
kills,
game?
yeah,
Every game, so it's everybody wants to play DPS. Well, you're the one who didn't want the roll lock.
yeah. Well, it is funny because so I like playing Squirrel Girl. She's my favorite character in the game, and
Hmm.
she's pretty bad, but
She's
very
decent now.
fun.
She got buffed recently. She's
Oh,
okay
that
now.
the alt buff made the character actually not a joke. The alt
Yeah,
actually
because
does something now.
before the character basically didn't might as well have not had an ultimate.
Squirrel Girl is super fun. Uh,
Mm,
and I'll play her. I'll obviously I'll switch to Hell Hawkeye. You know, whatever needs to be done if it needs to be done. I've been
yeah.
playing Hell Hawkeye, Magic,
Wait,
Squirrel Girl,
hell.
Hella, not Hell.
Yeah.
Too many games. Hell, that's some Smite, uh, left over in me.
Smite leftover.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I find Squirrel Girl to be very fun,
Hmm.
and but half of my games now, especially in ranked, I end up just playing Venom because I need to play a tank because we don't have a tank. Um, which is fine because I think Venom is fun. I don't think I'm actively being a good tank. I'm just having fun on Venom. If I had to play tank, I would pull my hair out. If I had to play, I also refuse to heal another person in a video game that is like this kind of a game ever again because I used to only play support in different games, and I think it's boring now.
Mm,
So I want to be DPS basically every time, and DPS is the most interesting because they have the most interesting characters
yeah.
and have them, you know.
Ooh, actually,
But
that's a whole other topic.
yeah.
Um, which I guess kind of does play into how we were already talking about the new season. So the newest characters they released Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic. 2 out of the 4 of the
Mhm.
Fantastic Four, and the rest are coming the rest are coming later this season. Um, but the big thing is that Mr. Fantastic is a DPS, but he is very
But
tank-like. He
yeah,
does
he's a
very low
tank PS.
damage. His abilities are like a thing where he absorbs some damage and then fires it back. He can like stretch his arms and pull people and like pull them together, and he can make himself big and like dash to a teammate and give himself and them shields. And when
Hmm.
he uses his abilities enough or does enough damage, he transforms into like a big form where he only has left click attacks, and they're just like these big AoE melee swings. And so what they said on record is, we wanted to make a tank DPS hybrid because we want to play with stuff like between the roles.
Hmm.
And that's cool and all, but I actually don't think we mentioned the character count or the role count yet. There are 8 tanks and 18 DPS. This is like if somebody was starving and somebody said, "Oh, I could have a little bit to eat." If you gave them like one strip of bacon and said, this is equality. Everybody gets to eat."
They also really need to start making popular Marvel characters support and tank so people will play them more.
Well, they do that.
Uh,
They've done that a little bit already, but I think. Well, actually, the issue with the characters that they have made is they're all the ones that are very obviously going to be DPS.
mhm.
Um, I think there are definitely a lot of characters in Marvel that could be tanks or supports. Like, just off the top of my head, there's like for the X-Men, there's like Juggernaut, Blob, Beast. Like, there's like you can easily think of some that could fill some different roles. But I don't know. The initial cast they chose is very DPS heavy, which is like understandable, but also they're supposedly releasing 2 DPS this season, including Mr. Fantastic. So it's like, yeah.
Hmm.
And then we're
Well,
getting one of each other role, probably.
I've heard whispers of Cyclops and whispers of
Yeah. But
Professor
actually,
X, which could be memes.
do you want to talk about the
But
leaks?
I mean, we kind of are, I guess. But before that, though, can I just talk about one problem with the characters thing?
Sure.
So you have popular franchises, and people are going to want to gravitate to those popular characters. Now, I even did this when I turned the game on. I'm like, oh, here's Spider-Man. He seems cool. And he is probably the most extremely annoying to play character that everyone will want to play because it's Spider-Man, which will lead you
He's
to have
Genji.
the worst teammate of all time.
He's just Genji. All the Genji players play Spider-Man. Or all
Yeah,
the former Genji players.
Doing too much, the character.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool character. I think he's a little weak, just a little. Like I would say, like low B tier.
But in the hands
like,
of little
if
Timmy,
they
who's
buffed
gonna
him-
play him,
yeah.
he's F.
Yeah, if they buffed him, it would be bad news. But,
yeah, they don't like. Again, it's not the character; it's the people are going to want to. It's Spider-Man. If it was like some dumb character no one cared about, then people wouldn't play him as much. But it's
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Little Timmy wants to play Spider-Man, and he's going to suck.
Spider-Man.
On a controller, he's gonna get cooked. He's done. It's pretty much if you have a Spider-Man on your team, you're pretty much cooked. And I also, it kind of sucks because I play Squirrel Girl, and again, I will switch if we're getting destroyed. But I enjoy Squirrel Girl, and the team up is with Spider-Man, and he's ass, and I don't want to team up with him. Give me a better team up, please. Thank you.
Damn.
Oh, we didn't even talk about team ups as a mechanic. We're gonna be covering this for a couple weeks. This game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll briefly explain them. So the idea of team ups is that you have two characters, and when you pick them together, you get some extra ability, or like in some cases, an extra passive, and it kind of encourages you to coordinate with your team and pick stuff that works together. Even if the characters don't have literal or don't have synergy in how their kits work, they give them synergy by giving them like that extra ability.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's also the difference between an anchor character and the other characters for the team up. One of the characters in the team up will always gain. They have seasonal passives, which I think is kind of interesting. That they're going to be changing them and tuning them, such as some of the characters have like 150 extra health for the season.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they're going to mess with those and change how the characters feel. But those anchor characters always have those passive buffs, which I didn't understand from the team up side of things.
Yeah, it's not very well explained. But
no, and
I would imagine if they didn't do that, then people would complain like, "Oh, I didn't get my team up, so my anchor character's weak. I hate my team."
I think that I kind of like the fact that you don't need the team ups in a way because you can still be strong if you're not going for the team up. But
yeah,
there
if
is
you
a
did
nice
need
incentive.
the team up, then I think it'd probably cause some problems that people wouldn't enjoy.
I think it also helps people understand what characters they should probably play together. I think it's helpful. I think some of the extra abilities you gain from team ups are clunky because they're bound to C by default, and I forget that I have them sometimes.
Yeah, it does happen occasionally.
I don't always have them.
Yeah, also sometimes somebody will just like randomly switch mid-fight and you won't notice. That's kind of sad.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not really much they can do about that, but
yeah, I don't know. I think team ups is cool. I like how they have a passive that they're trying to change. It feels like they're trying to do the Fortnite / other games thing where every season should feel substantially different in some way, and it also seems like their patching philosophy is buff rather than nerf.
And I just think every season feeling different is that's just how you do live service. I think if that's not what you're going for, you're just doing live service wrong. Just simply put, like that's the whole point.
And they have the money to do it, so that's the thing. They have the bucks.
They have the money. From what I hear, they have the staff. They're trying to release a new character every month and a half or something like that.
That would be pretty crazy.
Yeah, which is like when you talk about beating people on like quantity or like pace, like that's I don't think many studios can match that, and I don't think they should necessarily. We're yet to see if that's even a good thing that they're doing that. But I think also, as far as the type of game that it seems like they're trying to make, where it's you get to play as all these fun Marvel characters in an Overwatch format, I think it is good for them. If you're creating your own original world, definitely don't do that. That'd probably be a very bad idea.
Yeah, they have the luxury of being able to pull from thousands of characters and make them interesting. Yeah, and we can all speculate, what's this character going to play like?
History. Yeah.
And we could talk about the leaks a little bit too, like you mentioned.
Yeah. Okay, so initially, I guess we can do like try to do them in order, just because some of them are going to be relevant sooner, and also because
Mhm.
some people might not want to be spoiled. So this is your
Yeah.
first warning. Spoilers for the first season.
Potential leaks.
Well, these ones are basically guaranteed to happen. At least the first ones I'll talk about. This is first season characters that are coming out like later
Mhm.
this season. So they're gonna release the rest of the Fantastic Four. They're not just gonna let two
They
of them
have
in and say
models
fuck the
in the
rest.
game.
Fuck the Thing. Like, why would
They
we ever add the
literally
Thing?
have
He's
his
just
model.
a thing. He's ugly. I hate him. And anyway, yeah, they're adding the Thing in Human Torch. From what I hear, the Thing's kit is like his big thing is he's immune to knockbacks and like
Big thing, yes.
anything that pulls him. Which I think is a really cool concept, and I think it reminds me a bit of the steadfast passive in Overwatch that Reinhardt has.
Which they've changed a million times.
Yeah, they've changed that a million times. It's never been full immunity. It's been like reduction to knockbacks and stuff. But right now, they've added Invisible Woman, and one of the best parts of her kit is that she has this ability where she can choose to knock you back or pull you in, and it makes playing tank very not fun. So I'm very excited for when they release that character, so that I can like start not feeling like a slab of meat again.
Do you think they'll do? I mean, they'll probably do a team up with, Johnny Storm or whatever, Human Torch Man and the Thing. Or do you think they'll do a full four Fantastic Four?
I think there's like a Fantastic Four team up. Yes, the way they phrased the current team up that Sue has with Reed is it's going to be the full Fantastic Four as far as I know.
I feel like that's kind of interesting, but also kind of bad too at the same time. But it would be kind of cool to have these like canonical big team ups. Like you could have a full team up. Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess it's fine with the Fantastic Four because they're going to have one of each role, with the Thing being a tank and Johnny Storm being a DPS, and then Reed is meant to be a hybrid. Really, he's a tank, but they just put him under the DPS category and slapped 350.
So people will play him.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm trying to think of what else the Thing does. It's a very simplistic character, unfortunately. I think he has like a regular punch, kind of like Hulk for his primary attack. Then he has a strong punch. There's no more details about it. It's just a stronger punch. Then he can run in a straight line and lift people up. Apparently, I don't know if that means knock them up or like literally pick them up and drag them.
That'd be cool. You could throw them.
Yeah, and then his ult is just an AOE knock up. Like it's like Rhine Shatter, but it knocks people up. They really like knockups. Every tank
and AOEs.
Every tank they're just like, yeah, knock up instead of an actual CC. You get to knock people up. Yeah.
Yeah,
knock
even
them,
Venom
knock
does
up,
that.
knock back.
Web them. He webs them, knocks them up, gets them all sticky.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It's very, very interesting. I mean, I guess they're trying to avoid like the whole I'm stunned, I feel bad thing, but like then they give the DPS stuns and hooks and stuff, and it's like, oh, huh.
Yeah, having a hook on Bucky is weird. It doesn't feel like he should be the hook character.
Yeah, we're in a bit of a I guess Bucky is part of the meta right now. Like since it's triple healer, fights are going really long. You play characters that like guarantee you picks, or characters that just kind of destroy the enemy team so fast that they can't heal it, like Moon Knight ult, which is coincidentally, as you would imagine, big area denial circle that does like 500 DPS. Guess who it's getting thrown on?
Yeah, and it also doesn't match up with the voice line. Like it happens like
it happens before the voice line goes off. There's no like delay, so you're a tank, and suddenly by the time you realize you started taking damage, you're dead, 100%.
Yeah,
unless you're like also, Captain America or something, you're dead.
There's way too little voice lines in the game. I've heard the same voice lines 1,000 times, like, and the dialogue between characters. They need to add more. It's kind of rough.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I actually think they have added more, but the rarity of them is too high or something. Like they're just not common enough.
I mean, they have added more with like the new characters. They've had discussions, but they'll have like a character will have one thing to say to another character, and then you hear that every time that other character is on the screen.
Yeah,
and it's tough. That's something they could fix, but. What other leaks? I haven't really been following any of them outside of people just basically talking about who they want to be in the game.
Yeah, I know. So for Johnny Storm, I think his big thing is he flies, obviously, and he makes like
Hmm.
these flame fields and he connects them together. It's actually pretty cool from what it sounds like. Um, but I'm just still caught up on how simplistic the thing is. Like, yeah, regular punch, big punch, run, slam,
I like
and also,
simple characters, though. Honestly,
uh,
that's my favorite characters. Or just they
yeah.
do
I
a
mean, I
thing
think.
good.
Oh, actually, I missed one ability. He can jump to a teammate and give himself and them damage reduction.
Oh, interesting. So it's like the
Which
Mister Fantastic
Yeah,
move.
which I'm not too big of a fan of abilities that are latched to teammates, or at least mobility that's latched to teammates, or just the
Hmm.
positioning of others in general. And I guess for enemies it's okay, but I really don't like it being latched to teammates. It's just very awkward, and
There's a lot
it's
of
not
give your
flexible.
teammate armor abilities in this game that I don't particularly like because they're not that use. Like I don't. I feel like they're useful with a lot of communication and maybe like foresight, but like in a pub match, no one's gonna be using these mechanics.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's kind of I think it's just meant to be like you play with a friend and you just do it. They seem to really
Yeah,
like the whole like yeah play with your friend and do this cool thing with them.
yeah,
Like
you
that
could
seems to
team
be
up with
a thing they're
them
really
and stuff.
into. Like just dragging one friend along with you and just having a thing you can do.
I think it's unrealistic to assume that people are going to be playing in full stacks in these kinds of games, and at least
Not
like,
even full stacks,
sing-
just one friend. Honestly,
yeah, no, but I'm saying it's good to have stuff for duos, triples, singles, because the rarity of people actually getting all together, it's like not happening unless you're
yeah,
really sweating hard, you know.
yeah, definitely.
So, um, yeah, what other characters have you been hearing ruminations of?
Um, God, I need to actually pull up the list.
I have a
Um,
character. So obviously Deadpool will be a character at some point.
yeah, he
Will they
has
go
been.
support or DPS?
Yeah,
That is the
he's been
question.
leaked, but not with like a kit. Just like Deadpool's
Well,
coming.
it's just
Not
obvious.
many of the kits not many of the actual kits have been leaked.
Mhm.
Like Blade's getting released, but he's
Oh, that'll be cool.
people thought he was going to come. Like they have the ability names. People thought he was going to come at the end, like this season, because it's like the vampire themed season. But apparently he's just trapped by Dracula, which I don't know. I don't know. I haven't read that many Blade comics, but like apparently the one big common thing is Dracula's like. Well, first of all, he's real in the MCU or in Marvel, and he's like actually a threat, but nobody else cares. And then he just kind of took over all of New York City and like trapped Blade, and everybody's like, oh, he was like serious.
I feel
He
like
wasn't like
Spider-Man should
joking.
care about that a little bit.
I don't know, man.
I
Spider
feel like
Man's paying rent.
yeah, Spider-Man's probably being traumatized in some way.
Yeah,
Too busy. Deadpool, I do think they'll probably make Deadpool just a DPS because popular character, but you
yeah.
could totally do a support Deadpool that does weird stuff and breaks the fourth wall and gives healing and does all this crazy stuff.
I don't know. That'd be
Um,
cool. Doubt they're gonna do it, but
yeah,
it would be cool. I would do
guns
it
and a katana.
if it were up to me. I would do it.
It makes sense because there's so many weird things you could do with Deadpool as a support, but I do think
I don't know.
katana
Like
guns is
Deadpool's
high.
like he's a katana gun guy. They're definitely gonna. They're almost
Just
100% making him a DPS.
yeah, make him
It's
play
just
like
gonna
Devil May
happen.
Cry.
Yeah, he's
Give him like
definitely
a
gonna have like a
stinger.
fourth wall breaking combo meter or something.
Oh, that'd be kind of awesome. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? That's a character they can have a lot of fun with. A lot of people also brought up the idea of like, oh wait, you could have the variant characters like Gwenpool and like Venom version of
Yeah,
Deadpool. Like, and I'm like, oh, that could. I
I
mean, that
think
could be
that's gonna be
skins or it
like
could
kind of
work.
down the line because I think there's some base characters they want to get in, unless it's like Miles Morales or something.
Yeah, they should. They probably will add Miles Morales as a
Yeah,
separate character.
or I could see like them. Actually, it's a little too late to do like some movie tie-ins. Like I was thinking they might add Sam Wilson, Captain America, but that's a while. That would be a while off.
Well,
Because from what I understand, they don't even have it in the pipeline, according to the
you could
leaks.
do like a support Miles Morales where like you have the electric stuff and
Yeah,
but then you
people
could
were
have
saying that.
Spider-Man then you have this Spider-Man Venom and Miles Morales could be like a team and they're all like spider gameplay but on different roles
Hey,
with the
don't forget about
swinging.
Penny Parker.
Oh yeah, I did forget about that character.
Oh god,
Very
Penny Parker
annoying
is just the
character.
techies of the game.
Yeah, just an annoying character in all shapes and forms, both like voice wise and gameplay style wise.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
trap characters, not very fun.
yeah.
I
What
does
other
Overwatch even
anything
have like
else?
a real trap character? Now I think about it.
I mean, Junkrat has traps.
Yeah, but like it's like a side thing. It's not like
Yeah, you don't really
his
use
that's not like
them.
his trademark or whatever.
I don't really think
I guess they
so.
don't.
May kind of was annoying before. Now she doesn't really freeze
Yeah.
people, so it doesn't really matter. That was kind of different anyway.
Yeah. All right. Let's start rattling off these leak
Yeah.
characters. So there's Angela, this is
Who?
interesting. Apparently it's Thor and Loki's sister, and I found out that
Oh.
in the movies or in the MCU, they actually changed Hela. Apparently she's supposed to be Loki's daughter.
Oh.
It's very
Oh.
interesting. And Angela's like apparently this basically the same character. Like he's like
Oh.
the Hell person. I don't know how that works. Honestly, that's weird mythology or something. Who knows?
I
Most
assume
mythology doesn't make
eventually
sense.
they'll add
Everybody
like
knows that.
She-Hulk and like Girl Thor
I don't know.
because
I don't know. I'm not sure if they'll do She-Hulk. Actually, that reminds me, Hulk. Very interesting because I think I would imagine they were making the design and then they were like, wow, how are we ever going to make the thing different from Hulk? And then
Huh.
they gave him like the gamma belt thing, and I think it's really. I'm not a fan of what they. I'm not a huge fan of what they did for the character as far as like the Hulk fantasy goes. It is a fun character. I do enjoy playing it, but like it doesn't. I don't feel like Hulk except for when I use the ult, which is like Winston ult.
Yeah.
My main problem is like his kit revolves a lot around his gamma, his radioactive lockdown, which is like he spits out gamma energy. And you know, when I think of Hulk, I'm not trying to spit on people. What do you mean I'm spitting?
That's a
That's
great
just
point.
weird. Like literally,
Also,
all I do is punch shit. I clap. I fucking slam, grab. Anger.
Also, besides being diva, what is the point of Bruce Banner?
I
Like,
think it's really dumb. I think it's also really dumb that they named the character Bruce Banner. Nobody's trying to
Yeah.
play as Bruce Banner. I'm playing as Hulk, and I'm going to like it.
It's not even a timer. It's just like press this button. Okay, you're Hulk now. It's like if you die, it's like maybe you can escape as Bruce Banner. Oh no, you're already dead. There's never a time where you'll get out. Really,
It's also really
even if
annoying
you
that they
do,
start
what's the
you as
point?
Bruce Banner, and you
I
have
know.
to transform every time you respawn.
It's like Zelda and Sheik in the Smash games. They just separated them eventually. It's like what? Like who cares? Like who?
Yeah.
I get it. It's like quirky and whatever to have Bruce Banner, but like it.
Oh my
it's
god,
so
guys! I'm
pointless.
playing Bruce Banner, not Hulk.
There's
a Bruce
no
Banner
like
main.
meter. There's no real like threat and point of like I'm gonna become Hulk.
Yeah,
I'm hulking out.
There's literally no point in being Bruce Banner like ever.
Yeah, even if you die,
charge.
it almost feels better to just leave Bruce Banner alive when you kill him.
It's the Baby Diva scenario. You can just
But
stagger
Baby Diva, you
him
want to
really
at least
bad.
kill them. It's like Bruce Banner like does
Well, no,
nothing.
Baby Diva, you would delay killing and just stagger them. They would just have to jump off the map eventually and be sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's just that's just a weird choice.
Okay, let's rattle off the rest of the leaks. So I already mentioned Blade. We already mentioned Deadpool. Captain Marvel. I'm not sure what version they're going to go for, but apparently that's supposed to be a tank, from what I heard. Emma Frost, who's also supposed to be a tank. It's like the character from the X-Men. Hitmonkey. I had not heard of this one before. Apparently has a 2-season like a show that streams on something. I think it's on Hulu. I don't know.
This character looks fire. Oh, wait a minute.
It's just a monkey with gun. It's like a hitman monkey. Like he just has
monkey
guns.
John Wick. All right, yeah. Fire character.
Lots of these characters just have guns. Like, that's
he has guns and a katana. He's just Deadpool.
Yeah.
I was actually of him fighting Deadpool.
Like I guess the game is technically a shooter. That's also one thing to mention. This game is a lot more. I feel like they emphasize the abilities a little more than the gunplay in lots of cases compared to Overwatch, especially with all the melee characters. Yeah, I kind of forget sometimes. This game's a shooter. Like they're adding a lot of like a couple guys that they're just. The thing is just they have guns.
I mean, I think it's good to have all these melee characters because you can actually play them on console. Like, it gives console people not having to aim.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you do kind of have to aim with melee compared to Overwatch because it's not just a wide swing; it's actually like a small like.
Yeah, but it's better. It's better than fine aiming
it
with
is
like playing Hawkeye or something.
Anyway, Professor X. Oh
Oh
god,
yeah, that'll be
the
a great
memes,
kit.
the memes I've seen since that got leaked. Oh my god. I'm not going to
Um,
comment on it.
now
If you know, you know.
here's how to make that character work. Look at Sly Cooper 3. Look at Bentley. He's in a wheelchair that has rockets and everything, and he flies around. Make him play like that. Give him like, you know what they could do? Make it like what's that game with the skiing and the shooter? The Tribes Ascend. Make it like Tribes Ascend, where if you hit a slope, you're going down. You can like surf, like CS:GO surf as the character. Like
Yeah.
that would be pretty sick.
Um.
Give him momentum mechanics.
So yeah, the next character is Jia Jing, who's also known as Sprite. Apparently, she's a mutant. What really confuses me, I think there's more than one character named Sprite in Marvel, because I know there's the one from Eternals. So I don't really understand, but apparently she's supposed to be a support. So cool. Jean Grey, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a DPS. Paste Pot Pete.
What are these
Not
characters?
once in my life have I heard of this character. Like
They're
I am
the
glad that
deepest
some
cut.
of them. I am glad that some of them are like out there, but man,
Oh god,
you will
it's
never,
gonna, like, slow.
you will never catch me calling myself a paste pot Pete main.
He's just gonna shoot glue all over the map, and then it's gonna be slow everywhere, and then he's gonna slow people. It's gonna be so bad.
Yeah.
He's gonna have like the glue
So then
gun
there's
from. Yeah.
yeah. So then there's
Oh god,
Colossus, who isn't
that'll
too
be
much of
cool.
a surprise. Another X-Men character. They do mention him actually. And they also have one of the team ups is the fastball special between Hulk and Wolverine, and apparently in the files there's like a character missing in there, so that might be Colossus. Could also be the Thing. Who knows? There's MODOK. That could be another
Yeah, of
really funny
course.
one. That's probably a support, I would imagine.
Voiced by Patton Oswalt.
Maybe they want to make him a tank. God, every time I hear about MODOK now, I can't stop thinking of that one scene from Ant-Man Quantumania where where that character just told him not to be a dick, and he was like mogging in terms of delivery, and her acting was just terrible.
I made it 15 minutes into that movie, and then
Yeah.
I stopped watching all MCU
The script
movies.
was horrible. Don't watch Ant-Man Quantumania, especially since Kang is just gone now. Apparently, I guess they killed him off in What If or something.
Can I talk about one character that is gonna be the most obvious character ever to add?
Sure.
But the kit. Okay, so Thanos.
Yeah.
Now, someone was already like, someone had the worst take I've ever read in a YouTube comment that was like, I have an idea for Thanos. His ult kills half of the players in the game, including him at random.
Oh my god!
And it does that. I'm like, that's a horrible.
Oh my god! I saw somebody saying that in a Discord I was in. I was like, yeah, it'd be pretty cool if they added Thanos and like added into game. He's like, oh my god, yeah, I want to do the snap. I'm like, what do you mean you want to do the snap? They can't implement that.
They're gonna
impossible.
do the snap. No. Here's how you do it. They give you the snap, but it's some sort of marked for death thing or something like that. It needs to be something where there's. Or how about this? Ready? This is gonna be also OP, but maybe if a character's at 25% health and you do the snap, you insta kill them. So then you have to combo it with people.
My
like
problem with that is that
destroy people.
First of all, that's basically already what Bucky does.
Yeah.
And second of all, I don't know. I think like having you have to do this to the person and then you can ult them. I'm not sure how I feel about that type of design in a game where you already need to build up your ult off of.
But they gotta give him the snap. It's his thing. I mean, look, they gotta. It has to be implemented in the kit in some way.
I don't know. I think if they are going to implement it, it's going to take a really long time to figure out, and that's going to be the sole reason why we don't get Thanos in the next year. I
mean, they could also make him like a character that is like an event character that is, he shows up and causes problems.
I also think it's what's more likely going to happen is like his ability is going to be either some sort of stance thing with the Infinity Stones, or like he's going to have an ability for each stone, and the ultimate might be some like, oh, I use all the stones and do a bunch of crazy shit.
Yeah, he gets a nuke from Modern Warfare 2 if you let him.
I would imagine it's like going to be like, I don't know, like he uses one stone. He uses like the Mind Stone to fly, the Power Stone to do this, the Reality Stone to do that, and it's like some like weird combo thingy. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I actually do think it's kind of funny how iconic the snap became in relative to Thanos' comic book history. He does a lot of things.
They gotta have him fly in on the Thanos copter for his intro, or put that in one of the victory screens for sure. You gotta have the Thanos copter.
Yeah.
Are there other
Yeah,
characters?
we do need to have the Thanos copter. That has to be like an MVP screen.
Are there other characters that
Yeah,
we
one
are?
sec. One sec. So there is also the Hood. I don't know. I didn't
Okay.
know who this was. Apparently, it's like a villain, and it's like this hooded guy with like a massive jaw or something. I don't know. I
Oh,
don't know
that's
whose villain
cool.
it is, but he looks cool. Apparently, he's supposed to be a
Is,
tank.
is he like a Ghost Rider villain?
I don't know, and I can send you it. Actually,
Is
there's
Ghost
various
what is
there's
Ghost
various
Rider? Is
interpretations.
that Image? Is Ghost Rider? No, he's Marvel because he's Marvel
Yeah,
vs.
he's Marvel,
Capcom.
and I'm sending you
Oh,
some pictures of him
I,
now.
I
Like
mean, I bet they will add
he's
Ghost
pretty cool.
Rider. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
they
I'm looking
will.
at him right
I
now.
hope they will one day. He's a relatively popular character. He used to have movies. He used to be
Yeah,
Nicolas Cage.
Nicholas Kage.
Yeah.
Nikolai Kage.
Um. But yeah, then there's Locus. I don't know who that is. Apparently, support. There's Ultron, which was
Is
fully leaked. For like that was the
that'll be
first character
cool.
that got leaked, and people thought he was going to come out this season, or the leakers did at least. And then the Fantastic Four started creeping up, and people were. This is actually one of the cases where you shouldn't trust leakers too much. They said that Invisible Woman was the least developed out of the Fantastic Four, and she got released first.
She's definitely probably the most developed.
Yeah, I would say she's pretty far along in the development process right now. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Yeah,
They wanted their money now. They wanted their bajillion dollars
Yeah.
right now.
And then there's Cyclops and there's Valkyrie.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, Valkyrie is the last one. I don't know. Apparently, there's lots of different interpretations of Valkyrie, so nobody knows what they're going to do exactly. But yeah, I mean, cool list. There's a lot of leaked maps and stuff too, like Krakoa, which is it's like an X-Men comics thing. I need to read more modern X-Men comics, but it's like a separate country for mutants. It's like a living like island.
They gotta
mention it
add
a
my
few
girl
times.
Kitty Pryde to the game so I can phase through
Oh, God.
the environment.
Speaking of Kitty Pryde, they need to add Juggernaut. I just want to sprint at people and like run
That
through
will be fun.
the entire map and everything that's destructible. One thing I will say, what's notable, that's kind of interesting, they don't have Drax and Gamora in this leak list, and they're mentioned directly in the game as being missing. So I would assume that they're eventually going to complete the Guardians of the Galaxy in this game.
Wild that Mantis beat those two characters.
What?
Wild that Mantis got in the game before those characters.
Oh yeah. That is kind of wild, but I don't know. It'd be interesting if you could have a full Guardians of the Galaxy team, because there is 6 of them. If you don't include Adam Warlock, he's stupid. Get him out of here. Yeah, I believe.
I don't
6.
like
I mean,
the
Mantis,
so they've been
Gamora,
adding all
Groot,
the MCU
Drax,
skins.
Yeah.
And they have one for Adam Warlock, and I don't think it looks like Will Poulter.
Yeah, some don't transfer over very well. I will say some go over extremely well, though. Like the Thor one. The Thor Love and Thunder design is horrific, but it works in the game for some reason. Like, oh my god. Like, some MCU designs are just terrible, and they just look better in the game. Like, a lot better.
All right. I think we need to wrap up the pod. We'll continue talking about this next week.
Yep.
There's tons more to talk about. We barely even scratched the surface of actually playing the game and other things. There's just a lot to talk about. And if you have any questions or want to message us, you can actually put a comment directly in the Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, the Spotify thing, you put a YouTube comment, or you could email us at hyeppodcast@gmail.com, hyeppodcast@gmail.com, and you could flame us for playing Squirrel Girl or whatever. But I've been Matt, aka Matt Fondude, and who are you?
I've been James, aka Afro4E.
And I'm going to edit the podcast and then go play Marvel Rivals, I think. So I'll catch you guys later.
Yeah.